Hey there, it's CJ Willie, and I'm cracking a pack today. I have a Throne of Eldraine booster pack. It's been, what, 3 sets since Throne of Eldraine was in Standard, or it's currently in Standard, but it's 3 sets ago. We had Core Set 2021 releasing, and then Ikoria Lair of Behemoth, and then Theros Beyond Death, and now Throne of Eldraine. So I'm going to crack this pack, and as I review each card, it's going to be from a very casual Magic the Gathering player perspective. I'm going to go through it as if, I'm looking at it based upon the cards that I'm playing today in a casual format. Not really a Friday Night Magic grinder or a Pro Tour player. I'm just looking at it as kitchen table having fun. So let's take a look and see what we've got in this Throne of Eldraine pack. All right. First card is Ardenvale Paladin. 4 mana, 3 and a white. It's Humanite. It's a 2/5. It has Adamant. If at least 3 white mana was spent to cast the spell, Ardenvale Paladin enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Face value doesn't look great. Really isn't. I mean, if you do spend 3 white mana, you get a 3/6. Clogs up the ground, but not much else. It's not a common that I'm playing. Next is Mistford River Turtle, 4 mana as well. 3 and a blue, it's a turtle, it's a 1/5. Whenever Mistford River Turtle attacks, another target non-human creature can't be blocked this turn. So another, if you're playing in a blue-white flyers deck, maybe you pair these together. No, not really, because I want to be spending some of my more expensive mana on getting good flyers out. So, no, not really interested in Mistford River Turtle. Next is Thrill Possibility, 2 mana, 1 and a red. It's an instant. Has an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. So definitely an upgrade on Tormenting Voice. That was at sorcery speed. With instant speed, this is a pretty cool card. So, end step of my opponent, get rid of a land, which is more than likely, draw 2 new cards, draw a card on my upkeep, and I'm ready and raring to go. I do like Thrill Possibilities, and I like that it's at instant speed now. Next up is Silver Flame Squire, 2 mana, 1 and a white. It's a human soldier at 2/1. That's it, but it also can go on an adventure, so you can play On Alert, 3 mana, 2 and a white, instant adventure. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Untap it. So basically, in Throne of Eldraine, you had creatures that could go on an adventure, so you'd cast the adventure first, which was an instant or sorcery. It would go to the graveyard, and then from the graveyard, you could cast it for its creature cost. So this is a pretty good combat trick. For 3 mana, you'd untap one of your attackers on your turn and block a creature. It would probably die. This would go to the graveyard, then you could pay 2 mana and you had your creature. So I did like Adventure. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. Wolf's Quarry, 6 mana, 4 and 2 green. It's a sorcery. Create 3 1/1 green boar creature tokens with when this creature dies, create a food token. So there was a lot of cool food token type spells or creatures. I did not like Wolf's Quarry at all. I didn't play it. I know you get 3 green boar creatures at 1/1, which can be blockers. And, when they die, you get a food token, which can gain you some life. But this particular card was not good in the food token type deck. Reaper of Night. Now, this was a good common. I really liked Reaper of Night. For 7 mana, 5 and 2 black, you have a 4/5. Whenever Reaper of Night attacks, if defending player has 2 or fewer cards in hand, it gains flying until end of turn. So later in the game, more than likely, this is going to be a 4/5 flyer. You can cast a sorcery adventure, which is Harvest Sphere for 4 mana, 3 and a black. Target opponent discards 2 cards. So I really like the setup of this particular card. You can cast it on turn 4. It's really a mind rot, which is okay, but it's going to get them to less cards in their hand. And then by the time you cast Reaper of Night, more than likely they've got 2 or fewer cards in their hand. You have a 4/5 flyer, which is pretty hard to deal with. I liked Reaper of Night as common. It was a pretty good card. Signpost Scarecrow, 4 generic mana, artifact creature Scarecrow. It's a 2/4. It has Vigilance. You can pay 2 generic mana, add 1 mana of any color. Now, I did play this, I think, in draft once, and it kind of helped me with my 3rd color, but currently it's not anything that I'm playing in a standard deck. It just seems way too slow, and I have lands that give me my splash color or other mana. So really just a limited type card. Red Cap Raiders, 3 mana, 200 red, Goblin Warrior. It's a 3/2. Whenever Red Cap Raiders attacks, you may tap an untapped non-human creature you control. If you do, Red Cap Raiders gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. No, I mean, sure, you can have a 4/3 trampler, but more often than not, what was happening later in the game is that this was getting blocked. It was probably trading. It was susceptible to direct damage. In the form of red burn or just destroy target creature. No, it's not a card that outside of limited, it's not anything that I really play. Now this is a good card. I like this one. Merfolk's Secret Keeper, single blue mana. It's a Merfolk Wizard at 0/4. You can play the sorcery adventure Venture Deeper. Single blue mana, target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. I like playing a mill deck. This fits really good into a standard mill deck. In limited, it was a workhorse. I actually drafted a mill deck and had a lot of success with it, and it was because I had 2 or 3 of these Secret Keepers in it. And currently in standard, you can build a pretty powerful mill deck, and these are really good milling cards in that you can play it to mill, and then you can play the creatures as 0/4. It's a nice wall, it blocks some of their stuff, and it gives you enough time to mill them out. Next card is Out Muscle, 4 mana, 3 and a green. It's a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then it fights target creature you don't control. So similar to Hunt the Weak, except for Adamant. If at least 3 green mana was spent to cast a spell, the creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. So definitely a little bit better upgrade than Hunt the Weak. You get the +1/+1 counter, and if you spent 3 green mana to cast this, which is really very likely, your creature's indestructible. So it becomes more the one-sided bite. Out Muscle is a fun card, but not something that I'm playing in standard. Our first uncommon is Spinning Wheel, 3 generic mana. It's an artifact. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any color, or you can pay 5 generic mana, tap it, and then tap target creature. So I like the mana rock ability to splash another color. I think that's pretty cool. And in the late game, if you got mana, you can sink it into, which in Throne of Eldraine, especially in limited environment, games were going a lot deeper into turns, past 10 turns. Standard wise, no, once again, it doesn't really make the cut because there are a lot of other land cards that can get you the colors you need, and 5 generic mana to tap a target creature is a little expensive. Fun card in limited, but not so much in constructed. Next is Skullknocker Ogre, 4 mana, 3 and a red. It's an ogre at 4/3. Whenever Skullknocker Ogre deals damage to an opponent, that player discards a card at random. If the player does, they draw a card. No, I didn't like this card in limited. I don't like it in constructed. I don't like the idea of, sure, I'm going to hit you for 4 damage, but you get to draw a card, you get to pitch a land you don't need and draw into maybe more powerful card. No, I'm not big on allowing my opponent to draw cards, and Skullknocker Ogre is not a card I'm interested in any level whatsoever. Final uncommon is Sage of the Falls, 5 mana, 4 and a blue. It's a Merfolk Wizard at 2/5. Whenever Sage of the Falls or another non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So, this has a little bit of vitality in that, you attack with it or another creature. When it enters the battlefield or another creature enters the battlefield, you're going to loot. I haven't played this really in constructed. I don't think it has a home. In draft, I did play it. Here's the sad part about it is that because it's a turn 5 play, and sure, I'm going to be playing other creatures, there was a couple of times in limited where I didn't want to draw a card or discard a card because I only had 1 card in my hand, or I had 0 cards in my hand, and the 1 card I wanted to play, it was a card I wanted to play, so I didn't want to risk looting away a card I needed. And when you have 0 cards in hand, all you're doing is looting. So in a graveyard shenanigan deck, yeah, maybe so, but Sage of the Falls was not a card that I was interested in. I did in limited, but it didn't pan out the way that I wanted. All right, did we get a cool rare or a mythic rare? We got Brazen Borrower. Now that is a cool mythic. 3 mana, 1 and 2 blue. It's a fairy rogue at 3/1. It has flash, flying. Brazen Borrower can block only creatures with flying. You can take it on an adventure at instant speed, petty theft. 2 mana, 1 and a blue. Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. This sees a ton of play in standard. A lot of the pros play it. In our booster box that we got my friends in the play group, we did not get one of these in that booster box. I haven't had the opportunity to play with it, but it looks like a really cool card. Looks like a very powerful card, especially when it's being played by a lot of the pros. It's definitely going to find its way into one of my decks. I'll find a place for it because I think it has a really powerful effect in that bouncing in a non-land permanent, and then being able to play this at flash in my next turn. I like Brazen Borrow quite a bit. And then I have a swamp and a stupid ad card. Why couldn't I get a token? Anyway, I think my favorite card out of the pack, or definitely the best card of the pack, is going to be Brazen Borrower. None of the uncommons really are doing it for me constructed wise, and although I like Merfolk Keeper in a mill deck, definitely the card that I'm very happy to get is Brazen Borrower, because I think that it has a lot of playability, and I definitely have a current standard deck where I'm playing flash creatures. I know it's kind of a really cheap version of Cynic Flash that Brazen Borrow is going to go perfectly in, and I'm pretty excited to get it in there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Also share with me in the comment section what was your favorite card or what you thought was the best card of the pack. Until next time, when I'm back to crack my next pack of Magic the Gathering.